Real nice to be here. I got to hang out with some of the folks last night. Of course, nice to see all the faces that I haven't got to see in a while, and all the new faces. It's nice to hang out with you guys. Man, we're really excited about what's new. And Jesus is always the same. But boys, sometimes don't we need new in church?
Yeah.
We do. We need new. We need new revelation. We need fresh wisdom, fresh direction. We really need new. And sometimes people that don't like new, someone says, how do you get people to understand new? It's pretty simple. Just really get sick of the old. Yeah. And when you're sick of the old, it's a little easier to adapt to new. So what kind of led me to this, really it's more of a program, it's kind of a process. What led me to this was, I love our church. We've been there, about the same amount of time. We celebrate the same years, 16 years as like Pastor Don and Krista. But we just hit a point where God was moving, people were coming in, but we kept getting the pastor, that was great. Wow, I'm brand new, wanted to meet you. That was such an amazing sermon. That was the best sermon I've ever heard in my life. You probably are the greatest preacher ever. Okay, that didn't happen, but it sounded really good coming out of my mouth. So I gotta just keep going. They would say, I love the worship before you preach. I love the people, and then the worship. Are you going to have times where you preach less and there's more worship? You, sir, can just find another church. And we kind of hit that plateau where people love it. Church is awesome. We love it. This is great. We're feeling God. We're brand new. We're out of church. We just got saved. And boy, after a while, I didn't know if they were all just lying to me because they would say it. And they would come maybe for another week, 3 weeks, 6 months even. And sooner or later, it just seemed like folks that God had legitimately touched and legitimately felt a part of the family just didn't stay.
Preach it.
Thank you. They just didn't stay.
Right.
And I don't know if you're, all of us are ministry minded. It doesn't matter what role you are. If you love the church, boy, it breaks your heart to think that God started something, right? And it didn't finish. And it was like, wow, what's going on? So, I got together with the elders and some of our crew and just started trying to find what's going on, So I would say things like, they said they really liked it. I mean, do you think they really liked it? Are people paying people just to mess with my head to come and go, wow, love it, and then not come back? What is happening? Am I getting a camera? Am I being punked? What is happening? But I kind of went on a search for about really maybe 6 months for us. And we just went on a search to figure out why there were, every church has basically 3 components, right? You got to come in the door, they got to like what you do, and they got to stay. Mm-hmm. That's really it. They got to come in the door, they got to like what you do or feel God where you do, feel connected, and they got to stay. We felt like we got 1 and 2 right. People were coming in the door. Maybe not in big numbers, but there's always someone new coming. There's always a handful, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, whatever. We always had new, and 80% seemed to love it. 10% were like, The other 10% were like, this is not for us. And that's okay too. But it seemed like on number 3, we just couldn't get them to stay. And my elders, everyone that's been on staff with me, most everyone, I'm talking 14 years. So we have longevity. All my staff, almost every one of them have been there for years, 10, 12. And we've had very few key people leave. Very few key people leave over a decade. So it didn't make sense, we're not. So what we kind of figured out was they're coming to the church. They're being blessed by the church. But this was the painful reality. They don't feel like they're a part of it. They just attend it. So we got to fix that.
Yeah.
They need to feel like it's their church, because if it's I would in the front of it, I'd always say things like, you might think we have all the leadership we need. We don't. I'd always say to get where we need to go, we need more people, we need more. And I realized we were not saying that very often. We were not saying that enough. And if you come to my house and try to break in, I might try to go Bruce Lee on you at 3 a.m. because that is my house. Those are my kids. And My Second Amendment rights say that you might want to be careful when you come in the door.
Amen, brother.
I knew I had one. I don't know if anyone else. You said Sheriff Department, I got that guy. That's my man right there. But you know why I'll protect it? It's mine.
Right.
And I understand what God expects for people that's theirs. I think that's really the key, isn't it? That people feel like this is theirs. And if I disappear, guess what? It's a big deal. If I disappear as a father, it's a big deal to my family. If you disappear as a leader, it's a big deal. We need to open up the doors and include all these amazing people. Some of them might not have a resume of Bible college, but guess what? I don't know how you started. I didn't have nothing like that. I didn't have any great resume, but we got to see them. We got to have a good process to run them through. It's got to be available more than once every year. Someone ought to be able to.
Right.
You guys have great worship. You have great preaching. There's a prophetic mantle in the house. You're great at prayer. With all that going on, when someone feels something, they ought to be able to make a move that day.
Right.
They ought to be able to act on it. When do we want people to make decisions for God? When the heavens are open, right? Should I break up with my girlfriend that, we're doing the wrong things? I don't know what to do. Let me go and think about it. No, right now, when you're in the presence of God, make your decisions now how you should live your life. That's what I always push. When you're in the open heavens, that's when you make decisions. Because if you walk away, you might forget, you might not know, and you might kind of fall away. Well, guess what? Now we're going to get to give them an opportunity every Sunday. They can get touched by God, and at that moment, they can move from there to right after church or whenever your church has them, and they can come to one of these meetings and get people involved. So there's a little bit of the heart of it, but we have been around for 16 years. We have, I think we're a lot the same. Our churches are very similar in this, is that both of your pastors really hold their weight well. I'll give you time on that one. Yeah. I think that we're the same, where we have a lot of hard-working folks, a lot of hard-working. And, sometimes, you don't have to admit to it, I will for you. I think sometimes we wonder, I don't want to keep doing the same thing. I've been in the nursery, for 25 years. Now, I've been doing the same thing. I'm the only one that works. I'm the only one that does anything. And I really, really think, that maybe I shouldn't, I want out of this, or I want to get away from it. And I think we feel bad about that. But let me tell you, this is my thought. You can take this or toss it, or your pastors can come later and go, no, don't listen to that. But I believe that there is something built in us spiritually. It's our DNA to reproduce disciples. We do all kinds of discipleship programs, but honestly, it rarely reproduces us. They learn Bible verses and they get a plaque, but they never ever work. Is that too real? They don't work. We give them the, and Elisha and Elijah, Paul, Timothy, how did they disciple? You worked. You took over what was being done. And I think that's in every one of us. And I think part of when we get upset about burnout or frustration, or you start going, wow, I ought to be able to serve God by myself. Why am I struggling? I don't think we're struggling because we're bad folks, or we wouldn't have done it that long anyway. Can I get a witness in the church? I think we get frustrated because it's in us to reproduce. It's in us to find a Timothy, to find someone else and share the ministry with. Share it with and teach them how to do it. So we're going to move through some of this, and a lot of this is all on your notes. I think this is the one right here. We're going to go through some of this, and if you have a question, we can answer any question you like. Just raise your hand as we're going through it. We can answer. When I was learning the material, I kind of needed to stop the people and go, I have a question. Is anyone a question right now, person? Anyone like that? Do you have a question right now?
Can I get some notes?
Can you get some what?
Notes.
Yes, sir, you sure can. You can get them. Here, you get out mine. And if someone could give me some, that'd be great. Thank you. Does she have some? Is there enough?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So, any quick questions you can just ask. We'll probably hit them quick, and then at the end, we'll make sure there's plenty of time for any long or big questions, okay? So, the growth track is something we stumbled upon. I believe that every church has their own individual vision. I might be wrong on this, but I've never ever used another church's program. I'm kind of a lone ranger like that. We always kind of make stuff ourselves. And if I could be honest, I'm a little bit of a skeptic. And I might be a tad bit of a hater on, let's just go to a conference and get their program. I believe that what God's called us to do is specific. I believe what God's called us to do is individual. What I'm called to do and what you're called to do might be totally different. But I do believe that you can go to other churches and say this, what the house God has called me to build and the way God's called me to build it is different. But I can use the same hammer that you're using to get there. And that's kind of the way I see this program for us. It doesn't mean we're trying, because I'm kind of a hater on the copycats. We're just going to do what the other church is doing. I think we're more spiritual than that. I think we should be sharper than that as people of God. We ought to know our specific calls. So we stumbled upon this. And we felt like it was a good thing for us. To give you a little thought before we jump into the notes. We've been pastoring for 16 years there. We never did membership. We never did, because I came from the old school when the membership meaning you could vote. And then when you did not pay your tithes, it was my job as associate pastor to call you and say, hey, you did not pay your tithes, so you're not allowed to vote in the upcoming meeting. That put a scar on me. That did me wrong. So I didn't want nothing to do with it. When we finally did membership, even though we had a really good, real decent attendance, 250 folks come in, we worked very hard. We got about 68 or 73 people. That was with a 6-week program. And I wasn't frustrated because we didn't really push it. But I was kind of shocked at more people, because we had a whole lot of people that had been there and said they loved it, that didn't become members. Since we've switched to this, we have 117 members. That's better. And we did that, literally, we did the 117 in 3 months. Versus we kind of stopped the old and started on new. We did the 117, I think, 3 or 4 months. And the other 60, 70 took us, I think 4 or 5 months, and we were pulling teeth to do that. So for us, this really works. So the growth track is a couple things. Number one, it is a process where people can come in your church. They can go through 4 classes, and I think you have to strike the word classes to really get this. They can't just be classes. They have to be trainings. You got to see these things as important. They can go through 4 classes. Everyone calls them different. We call it growth track. You guys have starting point. But in one Sunday, they can learn about your church. The second Sunday, they can learn Christian essentials. I don't know about your church. I was shocked when I found out how many people attend our church that look like great Christian folks, and some even in leadership. They don't even know some of the basic Bible essentials. And that's not to be mean to them. If anything, that's on us. Yes. I'm the pastor, and somehow that slipped through the cracks. So allowing everyone to flow through. So one-on-ones, learning about the church. This is who we are. This is our story. This is who we're accountable to. Our leadership, maybe financial structure, what we do, how we do it, who runs the church. Share the vision. And they can become a member at that one-on-one class. So you can go the first day, and I know this is a little taboo for some folks, but you can become a member the first day. Becoming a member does not mean you can vote. It doesn't mean we approve of your entire life or everything. It simply says this, what Jesus did to Peter. He says, you can belong before you believe. Because when you think about how people change, how do they change? Do they have to know it all the first Sunday? Can they belong to this community of believers? And isn't that how iron actually sharpens iron? Is the 2 pieces of iron have to hang out together? So you can become a member that day. All the membership means, it doesn't mean we as a church, W as the high priest, the bishop of whatever. All it says is you are choosing. It's really a commitment on their side. You're choosing to say, I want to live with this group of people. And especially for new people, this is my favorite thing. I can belong with you immediately, even though my training is not done. That's my favorite thing. When they come in off the streets, I can love, hey, I know all you fine, outstanding, Holy Spirit-filled Christians might not remember all this, but you remember when you weren't saved? You remember how it felt walking into church? That they had it all together, even though we don't. And they look so far away from us. They feel like they were a million miles from us. No. Jesus made sure they felt like, hey, you can have the thief on the cross. You can have the kingdom today.
That's right.
So
That's right.
the very first week, so 101 is that. 201 is Christian Essentials. Talks about prayer life, and we can't see them as classes. That's something I'm learning that we did in the beginning to hurry up and get you on the dream team. You got to see it as for people to grow. Mm-hmm. People have to know the vision of the church. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but you can come to 6 months of our church, and I will not have a vision Sunday for 6 months. You need to know the vision of your church, how it's ran. You need to become a part of it. 101, first class. The next class, which happens on the second week of each month, you've got to know Bible essentials. You've got to know what we believe. It talks about what we believe as a church. It talks about the non-negotiables. It's really nice and up front. Jesus, born of a virgin, is the Son of the living God, non-negotiable. The Word of God is our foundation, non-negotiable. And it lets people know really quick. And not only really quick, but when they're really excited and early on in their journey. So you teach them about that. The 301 class is a discovery class. You'd be amazed, you actually won't be amazed, how many people attend our churches and they have no idea where they belong in the kingdom. They have no idea. Sometimes they get this feeling, my whole existence is to be a number that's counted and to be an offering that is spent. No. Everyone in our churches, and I'm taking this responsibility for me, they should know how God designed them. Mm-hmm. Because if Satan can trick you into thinking that you don't have a place here, right? You don't want to be here. So that 301 class, it kind of helps you discover how God's wired you. How many married someone that's totally wired different than you? How many remember that opposites used to attract? No, just teasing. Just teasing. Throw that out there. All right. So that's that. The 401 is when you join the dream team. The 401 is that last class that happens on the fourth Sunday of every month. The advice we've got and we do it every week. Every week. Whether there's 15 people, whether there's none. We've only had 1 week where no one actually came to class. And if not, guess what? No big deal. We go home. Go home early. It's not a failure. We've had weeks where no one came to, actually we had 1 week only where no one came to class. And one of the guys just was, oh man, I'm so bummed. I go, no worries. I go, guess what? We've got more people. Really, it's about availability. If someone wants to join Impact Church, when are they available? I don't know about your church. This is what we used to do. Well, I'd love to meet with you. Call me. We'll schedule a time. If that's you, and I know for me, I've said that 3 months because I'm busy. 3 months have gone by. I'm going, oh, I was not faithful with that. Mm-hmm. Now there is a built-in process. We worship. We have a process for that. Worship. We have our kids. We have a process. We have a process for accounting. We have a process for a ton of things. But sometimes we don't have any process where there's a welcome mat where people can come in. So for us, this is kind of what happened for us. On that 401 class, the fourth week of it, people get to join the Dream Team. And Dream Team is collectively this. Anyone that says, I will serve in an area of the church. Anyone that is A, a member of the church, which they need to take in that 101 class, and B, anyone that wants to serve, whether it's a big job or little, everyone. And the goal in this is not, my goal as a pastor used to be, I'm an altar call guy. I love the Spirit of God. I love altar calls. I love people getting saved. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, that was always my finish line. Reach people, reach unchurched people, get them in, or maybe save some of those religious folks. That's a big win too. Can you get on that?
Try to raise them dead.
Try to raise them up. Yeah. That was our finish. And we'd go home going, yes, did you see Bobby got saved? Oh, wow. We talked it up, shouting, yeah, victory. And then we started realizing all those great stories, we couldn't keep turning pages on the stories because that was our finish line. So I had to, after 16 years, continue to grow, it's not, how many have to be doing something a long time? It's not easy to change. I had to continue to change, continue to grow. And now our finish line is not when they get saved. That's not our finish line. Our finish line is let's raise people up who know how to serve their God. And when we can teach people not just to receive from God, but turn around and do something for Him, and not just do it on your own. Do it as a part of the local church, the hope of the world. That became our new finish line. Okay, so there's that. On your notes, if you're looking. Yes,
Can I
ma'am.
ask, I don't know if this is placed, can I ask the nuts and bolts question? So someone gets saved at service, so are these classes going concurrently every week, they're continuing to go, and we just plug them in whatever week they're on? How does that work?
Yeah, because they go all the way around.
Okay, so let's say this week we have empowering going on, someone gets saved, they just automatically go to the empowering class?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I wanted to be sure. Okay.
Yeah, and it's really for everyone in the church.
Okay.
So what it does is, even though it's not just for the lost, it's for everyone. For our church, we had 70-some members. I just made go through an 8-week class that was shortened down to a 6-week class. And I said, guess what? We have something that we're going to do, and I want you to be part of it. And they gave me a look like, you know I just went through 8 weeks, right? I said, yes, and you did that so well. But I really wanted all of our folks to go through it so they could tell others and they could experience it. But it's not just for saved people. It's for someone that comes to your church that's been in ministry and they're between. Everyone gets to go through it, and not everyone might need the 201 and 301. That's why some churches do it different, but the only mandatory classes that, and you guys will probably do great at this because you have the starting point up, but the first class is mandatory. You gotta know, you can't get behind the vision of this church unless you know who are the leaders, what do we do, how we do it. And then the 401 is something that we offer to people. But the 2 middle ones, if someone is already saved and you find, hey, someone's already saved, they have Bible school, they have the discovery and then at your leadership discretion, however you guys choose to do that. We don't make them all go through it. We encourage them all to, but we don't make them all, because some people already know.
Just gonna say, we are gonna take the whole church through it in January.
Sure.
So the whole church gets it, and then from there.
And when I heard you doing that, that was cool. We did that at our Cough Highway, and we actually ran 83 people through on our Wednesday nights. And it was such a big boost because you had 83 immediately. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's go over a couple of terminologies. I don't know if your church will do it the same way or not, but these are the terminologies that they give us. What is a captain? A captain is a leader or overseer of any ministry team. That's just terminology that they have us use. We have a captain for parking lot. We have a captain for hospitality. We have a captain for kids. We have a captain for the growth track. We have a captain that all they do is they set up the room, they get the materials out, they put food in the room, and then they take off. So we have, there's a captain is anyone. It can be anything. Sound and media, captain. Worship, captain. Youth, captain. So those terms are basically the overseers of a ministry. Okay? That's what a captain is. What does a captain do? A captain trains or he oversees and trains team leads. You got that marker on this?
Yes, sir.
Can I borrow that?
Yes, sir.
I hate to.
You can erase it.
I hate to. You know what? This turkey for Thanksgiving looks so. Oh, that's not what it is? So you're going to be highly impressed by my drawing. So I'll just throw that out now. Don't be intimidated. I went through all 12 years of school.
Should I get this on video?
You know what? Actually, here, Miss, you do it for me. Oh, I love you, Miss. You're so great. Yeah. So put at the top, put dream team leader.
Like, are you doing like a...
Yeah, like a schematic. They gotta help. Dream team leader. Ours is Doug Costa. We call him King Dream. Yeah. Every time watching the church, they're all, so the dream team leader, and then under that, there is usually, there's captains. And there's as many as you want. I think we have, I don't know, I think we have 18 right now. I could be wrong. I think we have 18 captains. And the captains are the people that oversee. It could be anything. It could be setting up the church. Setup team, captain. Hospitality, captain. Someone to simply take care of the platform. We call our prayer team, we call it a ministry team. They come up at the end and pray for people. We have a captain over that. And the key for this to work from the things that we've been learning is you can't do half the church. The goal is to incorporate the entire church. You can't have this team don't work that way. Our food team, we have captains. That's on Tuesday. Our church on the street outreach, even though they're on Tuesdays, we have captains. And when the whole church does it, I'm telling you, we have seen some synergy happen lately and unity that we have not seen in a while. And I would have told you a while back, we got a really good church. I don't even have to say that in faith. We actually got a really good church. But I'm not going to lie, this thing took us to another level. And I was kind of shocked because I don't know, for those of us that have been believing in Jesus for a long time, we almost don't mess with the little stuff. But I've been shocked, really. I've been blown away. I've been doing ministry since I was 19, and I'm 22 now. So in those 3 years, But I'm amazed at these little things, these shirts, and just these little tweaks. It's almost like, remember the old rabbit ears? You didn't have to move them far. You just had to make some small adjustments, and everything would come clear. So we have captains, and under that, we have team leads. Now, this is so cool. This reminds me a lot of when Moses was tired and the people were tired, and Jethro said, hey, son, come over here. You're trying to do it all yourself. And guess what? You're wore out, and these people are wore out. I love that the cause was great. The people were great. The leadership of Moses was great. Who's wanting to take a couple million people across the desert? Not me. I mean, everything was great, but guess what was wrong? System was wrong. Yep. Leadership was great. God was great. Power was great. Promise was great. Canaan's land. The system was wrong. So now they have team leads.
Is this okay?
Sure, that's great. And then there's team leads. And that works under the captain. Now, here's what a team lead is. A team lead, let me see. Okay, so what does a captain do? It oversees and trains team leads. We'll talk about that is. A captain has bi-monthly meetings with their team leads. So they have every other month, they have one meeting with their team lead. What a team lead is, let's jump down in your notes. A team lead is this. A team lead works under a captain and runs the ministry team for their service or color. So there are 3 different colors. Let me introduce you to some of these shirts that we had, or actually we did. So this is the blue team. This is what we do it. You guys can do it however your leadership chooses to, but just for some ideas. The blue team, there is all the ministries, but the colors are simply a schedule. That's all they are. All the nursery, youth, worship, it's all the same, but their schedule is that people sign up to work. When they sign up to work, they work once every 3 weeks, is all. And for some of us, you're like, we had people, when we brought to church, all the core people were like, what are we going to do with the other 2 weeks? I don't know. You're going to go to church. Yeah. You're going to go to church. And you're going to hear me preach. They go, what are we going to do with that? So this is simply, all it is a schedule. 1 week, you go by our church, there'll be 40 to 60 people, all wearing blue. It's pretty cool. All be wearing the same color. It doesn't signify ministries. It just signifies the week you work. And as silly as it is, and it reminds me of youth camp, I am shocked how people are so geeked over these shirts. They're all having meetings. I see it on Facebook all the time. Oh man, Red Team rocks, production team, Red Team, we're killing it. It's like, Red Team, I mean, just a shirt, But they do. So they all have different colors, and it's just a schedule. And every team lead, so because when they sign up at that 4-1 class, when new people come, they'll sign up. You're only asking them to work once every 3 weeks. People have tried to change it to once every 4 weeks. That has been a disaster from the guys I know that have done it. Once every 3 weeks. So let's say you say, I want to work in the kids department. I want to clean up because you teach, I'll clean. And they sign up. All right, when do you want to sign up? I want to sign up. What do you have? Well, I have an availability on the red team. Great. So she talks to them, she puts them on the red team, and then she will have team leads. So the captain runs the ministry, okay? The team lead runs that service. So for example, there is a team lead for every different service. So there is a team lead for kids ministry on Blue Week. There's a total different team lead on Red Week with its own team. There's a total different team lead on the Green Week, and they all have new teams. They all have new people. Can I get an amen on the new people? For all those that are weary and loving Jesus, but we would love for someone to notice that my arms are falling off and I'm up this long, right? And you know, my first thought when I heard this is, we don't have enough people. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough. But I'm telling you, I really feel for us, this has been a great step of faith. You know what? We'll never have enough people if we don't make it available.
That's good.
So we started to build teams. Some of our hardcore folks, they work 2 or 3. So in other words, if you're in kids ministry and you are going, we don't have enough people, so I'm going to do all 3 like I've always done. Guess what? The next 401 meeting, you might add 1 person. Yes. Take the load off. Next one, you add another. And then you start sharing, hey, I have room, like in our production team, lights and sound. Hey, my daughter, hey, we need a lights guy. We have Red Week open. We need a guy for Red Week. And we need a guy to run the lights for Red Week. Who's up for that? And someone will sign up specifically for that. And we went from having 60 something, 70 at the most members to 117. And now we have 100 people on the Dream Team. So membership, here's what I love. Membership is 117, okay? And Dream Team is 100. So what does that tell you? That tells you it's not a huge jump. It's not a huge jump to go from one to the other. Those numbers usually are quite a bit different by who are members and who are working. Yeah. So imagine 100 people working. That's not a bad deal at all. So the team leads run these weeks, okay? So there is a team lead over that one Sunday. So if you, let's say you are a team lead over the setup crew, over the hospitality, and your green team, okay? When you run your green team, once you run your team for that 1 week, you're done. 2 weeks, you will not know truth yourself. You're done. You don't do anything else. And then when your team comes up again, you run it again. And I'm telling you, as silly as it sounds, it has been huge. I think here's a couple reasons why, and the team leads love it. Here's where I think the real synergy kicked off and really changed when people got excited about this. One, when all of our hardworking people that, you know, you're still buying the crayons, you're still buying everything yourself, you're still folding everything yourself, you're still shutting the door at your own church, you're still doing all these jobs, and you don't mind serving. Obviously, we're all built to serve. But when it really changed was when the workers that have worked so hard started to get people underneath them that they could share their heart. See, no one more than the faithful of God. For those of you that are in this room, I'm guessing most of you have been here for a while, or you've been here at least long enough to know this church. No one better than this group to help mentor these other people, to help them know how we should be doing things, how we should handle ministry. So it's kind of neat. And when the hard workers started to get team leads, and then when new people that never had a chance to do anything in the church got to be a team lead, man, they took ownership. People that you would never think, Doug Costa, he's our guy, Cindy Costa's our ladies pastor. Their daughter is 16 years old. She wanted to become a team lead for the nursery. Okay? So she is the team lead. She's not the captain. She's not the one that runs it. There's a captain. She's a team lead over a green team, I think. She had her little meeting the other night, and Doug took a picture. And she's got like 2 adults on her team, and she's sitting down, letting them have it. Here's what we're doing with the babies. I don't want to see this. And I was shocked. It worked like a charm. And watch this. A lot of this works together with small groups. The ministries are like small groups. So we're able to disciple, thank you, Jesus, raise workers in the local church. I don't know about you. I feel like that's where we've missed it for so long. We reach, I think, everyone in the world. We try to, but we don't get more workers. So our output is huge, but we haven't actually made we maybe have made we maybe made a Bible disciple, but not a biblical. The biblical one would do the work with Jesus. So that's what a team lead is. Any questions on that so far? I know it's a lot coming quick. Good?
It's great. It stops people from being just spectators.
Well, and back to the original thought, right? Is this my church? Yeah. Now it's my church. Why? Well, I'm on the team. I have a friend that he's an elder at a church in Harvest Church in Vacaville, and he said, "Man, Dan, I love visiting your church. I want to come and visit, but I can't the 3rd week because I work and my wife works the 1st week." Right. I said, "What do you guys?" Well, he started talking. He's got a system like this too. They do. So it really makes them anchor to home. And when you are needed, there's a lot of people that might need you, but when the church needs you, not in a wait to the last second, I'm unplanned, please help me work all night to fill up 2,000 water balloons needed. That's not the needed most people want.
Yeah.
They want the I'm a part,
Yeah.
and there's something about these classes that make them feel. And I think it's really important as we do the classes too, that they understand you're coming to the Impact family. You're being committed to Christ, and you are joining the local church, the hope of the world. Here's what we do: we give our money. I mean, the teachers of the class are huge. Who doesn't? I don't teach them all. And what I love about this, we continue to break things up where no one is doing it all. I teach the one-on-one. That's it. That's the only class I teach. And then someone else teaches. And sometimes, you think, well, if the main pastor isn't there, I'm telling you, once it starts to take over, the synergy starts to happen. And in 16 years, I've never, ever seen our church more excited. And I'm starting to see stuff on Facebook now. I don't even know what's happening. Red team, we're out having, red team's bowling, the red team men are bowling. So it kind of doubles as a small group. I'm like, bowling? Why did you invite me? I mean, and to be honest, it starts taking off. And if you don't watch it, I'm just, we're family, right? We're family. You get so jealous. All this stuff's happening. It used to come to me. Now they don't ever come to me about nothing. It's like, I used to run this church. Before you got here, buddy, guess what? I answered everything. All these interviews.
Look how good that worked, right? Yeah.
But it's been good. And I love the way people are taking ownership of their church. There's a thing called a Dream Team Rally. And that's on the notes, we'll get to it. But it's when you get there a half hour before every service and you have a Dream Team Rally, okay? That's for all the people on the Dream Team. Our service starts at 9, our first service. And I was like, I was laughing going, our folks don't even get there till 9:15 anyway. And we're going to have a meeting at 8:30. You have got to be kidding me. There's no way. And our church is like 9 o'clock. We're just happy you're here. Thank you, Lord Jesus. There's like 6 of us at 9 o'clock, right? And you open your eyes. Oh, there one shows up 10 minutes later. I'm telling you, I was shocked. We shared it just like you guys are sharing it. 8:30, I was the last one there. They were all there, hanging out, they're drinking tea, and we do this rally, and I keep, I'm not an early morning guy.
God forgive him.
I'm not.
God forgive him.
Well, I take that back. I am an early morning guy. 8, 12, 1 a.m. morning early guy. Yeah, I'm an early guy. And I'm telling you, I'd have bet $100 that no one was coming to that stupid rally. I'd have bet $100 no one was coming to this 8:30 rally. There ain't no one coming to that. I'm telling you, they were there. I'm not exaggerating. They were there with bells on, and they were laughing, cutting up, having a blast, and the rallies are really fun. And the rally consists of, if you want to run down, we can kind of look at that. Run down to where it says morning rally. You see that? It's under what does a team lead do? It's about the 3rd or 4th notation there. It says lead your team huddle at the morning rally, okay? The rally is a 3-minute icebreaker. It's a lot of fun. And it's not spiritual. Just, it's not, hey, you ever read Lamentations lately, what's the Lord speaking to you? It's not that. It's very fun. And I think the other thing, we're a spiritual church. We believe in every gift. We love it. That's when I feel the happiest, when I'm in His presence. But the reality is, if we're creating a community of people that are serving God, communities do lots of things, not just one thing. So the rally is usually something like this. Hey, if you're on a desert island and you could bring 3 things, what would you bring? And then you go, hey, grab 3 people and share what would you bring? Or the next week, hey, guess what? Favorite restaurant. You can have one restaurant anywhere this weekend. What would it be? Share with 3 people. And I'm telling you, they start buzzing, they start talking, and I'm telling you, I was shocked. And we do that for 3 minutes, and we usually share like an email or a message that someone gave us about what God is doing and how that not just the pastor, the whole team makes this happen. Right. This is not a one-person show. The whole team. And we celebrate 3 people got saved. A lot of people getting baptized around this church. A lot of people and we celebrate the whole team made that happen. and we help celebrate the wins. You know, sometimes if we don't watch it, we just nag on what we don't have, and we rarely give God praise for what we do. That's Sunday morning sermon in a can, 2 seconds. So 3 minutes in that, and then you share what God's doing, 3 minutes, and then that's all the people on the dream team. That's all the red team for the week, or maybe it's the green team or blue, okay? Then they all break up and they go to individual groups. So now the team leads, which are the people that run that ministry. So there's, let's say, the children's captain, then there's a team lead for green, a team lead for blue, then the team lead takes over, and then they have a meeting. So now the whole thing, the whole rally is 15 minutes. About 3 minutes to do the first two things I said. It's very quick. It's not preachy. It's not long-winded. It's just fun. You share why we do what we do, and then everyone breaks up in their huddles. And then the children's director goes, hey, you know what? Or the team lead, whoever that is, hey, this morning we're excited about what we're doing. You go around, you ask anyone, do you need prayer for anything? And you take that time to pray over everyone else. I don't know if you've ever had this. We've had this a lot where while they're serving, the people serving need prayer. And truthfully, that's very hard to serve others when there's people. So we do it right there. Does anyone in the circle need prayer? Okay, well, let's pray over them. And then next thing, well, here's our focuses today. In Kids Church, we really have to watch that back door. You know, that opened a couple times last week. I really want to make sure that all of our team members are worshiping. And instead of having, this is my favorite thing, it might not be yours, my favorite thing, another night to have another meeting, you can do it quick. And instead of having food and cleaning the house and saying, please come over, and you're like, it's taking me all day to have, no. You do it right there before service.
Yeah.
And have you ever had the meetings that you tell them everything, and then 2 days later, they forgot everything, and you say things like, you know, I cleaned the whole house, man. I cleaned the whole house. I bought you cheesecake. You know what? You better give me a cheesecake because you didn't listen to a word I said. Everything so far. Makes sense? Yeah. And right before they can do it, you can start showing them, hey, you know, Pastor said when you be careful, one of the leaders said, you know what? Hey, we have a scare today. Or we've had people come through, you know, we've had some crazy stuff happen where we need security. Or, hey, make sure we keep that door shut. Or today, you know what? We really need to amp it up in worship. And right before you go into your service, right before you move into your group, you can give them the focus of what you want to see and what you're believing for, and then you pray over it.
Yeah.
Man, wouldn't it be great to know that our parking lot guys, you know Cody? We got this crazy kid named Cody, got saved from a YouTube video. Okay, he walked into church, he got saved by a YouTube video, he joined a West Coast program. He's got the funniest and craziest laugh in the world. He's just one of these guys, like, hey man, you know, and he's on the parking lot team. So he comes in one day, you know, Wallace rounds him up, they're at the meeting, and he goes, Deacon Wallace goes, hey, listen, he goes, you're the first people everyone sees. He says, I don't care what you've been through, Cody, I want you to put on a smile, you and the two other guys, get in that parking lot and let them know you're the first people that they see, and bless them with God's greatest smile. Cody's like, you got it, man. Cody's up there, hey, man, what's going on? Welcome to the church of the church. Oh, man, he was so funny. Wallace came back and he was like, Peter, you had to see this kid. He was hilarious. And you know what it does? Creates ownership.
Yes.
It reminds people what they do matters.
Yes.
Most leaders don't often want to bring it up, but often we get disappointed with what people do because they don't see the importance of it. How cool would it be to every week remind people, today might be the day that little one understands the power of the Holy Spirit today. What a great focus, especially if it's early in the morning, right? All right, so that's what the team, why don't you jump right up to what a team lead does. We'll jump up and finish that. A team lead does a couple things, and if your church asks you to be a team leader, if you're interested in how you do it, this is what the responsibilities would be. But one thing you do is you will call your team the week of the service to ensure everyone will be there. I know this sounds very basic, and if you grew up in church like me, you're like, I gotta call people to make sure they show up. Yeah. They're only working once every 3 weeks, and they're going to forget. So your job as a team lead, hey, guys, we're coming up on red team. The team lead does it, not the captain. The team lead does it. You run blue team, you run red team, own that. That's your spot. think shift manager. There's a manager, think shift manager. In this area, I run this area, okay? And then you call them and you say, hey, coming up on Blue Team, our week, I'm excited about having you guys come to serve God. Just want to get your confirmation. Everyone's going to be there. It seems like a tedious task, but man, it works. And you're only doing it once every 3 months. And most of the teams are kind of small, like 3 to 5, 3 to 12. That's like 3 calls every 3 weeks. That's not a big deal.
Right.
And as of last night, Doug told me to this day, to this point, we haven't had, and I think we've been doing this for 4, maybe 5 months, I think now. We haven't had one person miss, not one. And I don't know if you've ever been to my church.
That's amazing.
But our church is like semi-outreach. We do a lot of the idea. Some of them like don't go to work, right? Some don't go home. But they don't miss. I'm just keeping it real. They don't miss. And I asked Doug last night, and we got in the car, and I said, Doug, seriously? I mean, you like these good people? Really? He goes, Pastor, no one's missed. Because when they get that phone call, going, hey, you're up. This is our week. We got this. Let's go serve this
Go
week.
blue.
Go blue, that's what they do. Go blue, go red. And you know, the neat thing has been that I never saw coming. People used to hey, West Coast, that's our ministry. Go girls. For whatever reason, they're all picking the colors. Their colors are now more exciting than ministries. Very weird. Really, people are like, man, blue team, red team. I think we're gonna have like an Olympics in the summer. It'd be so fun. It'd be fun. Every team against each other. So they call everyone, and then they call their captain. So if your captain is Pastor Randy, you would say, or one of the other pastors, hey, I call all my people. And now what we do, Doug has them called by Friday night at 9 o'clock. So you call your people and you get confirmed they're going to be there Sunday and you call your captain by as soon as you can, and then your captain. So team leads here, you call your captain as soon as you can, the captain calls them, and ready? By Friday night, I don't know about your church, this is big for us. By Friday night, guess what? We know that everyone is coming. I don't know if you've ever done this thing where you're really excited and in the back of your mind, you're trying to pray and get excited, you're going, I hope so-and-so shows up.
Yeah.
Dear Lord in heaven, you do a lot of things up there, but if you could do one more thing, could you make Bob show up today? We need Bob. We're going to find out. You're going to find out. And for us, that's been huge. So as a team lead, you would call, here's the beauty, it's just your team. It's not everyone's team. It's not 50, 60 people. Some teams are 2 or 3. Some are 15, 18. You just do your team alone. And then you relay that message to your captain, and your captain calls the dream team. The other thing I love about this system is there's lots of safety nets. There's lots of, the way we used to do ministry, we'd be so busy doing ministry, we had no time to train anyone. It's like, we call them church leaders. If we're just being brutally honest, we weren't leaders, we were actually church doers. We really didn't lead anyone but the people that were coming. Now, this sets it up so there's leadership, and their whole role is not to do all the work. Their goal is to do Ephesians 4:11. What's 4:11? Well, let's read it. It's down here somewhere. Yeah. Ephesians 4:11 and 12. So Christ gave himself, the apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, to have great services. No, to equip people for what? Work. For works of service. So why? The whole body of Christ will be built up. For us, and I'm not trying to oversell this program, to have no reason to, but for us, it's built us up, and there's a real synergy that we haven't had in a while. So that's just our story so far. So it's built in. Yes, Pastor?
I was gonna say, and the key is, not just because they confirmed on planning center they're gonna be there, but they get the call even if they did confirm, and they got that verbal conversation, is that correct?
Yeah. In the expectations, did Dina get you some of the team lead expectations?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When you get those team leads, it actually gives you a strategy. And I know some of this stuff, I'm just gonna be honest, when I look at it, I'm like, really? But it's important. I don't know the exact, it's on there. You email on Monday. If you don't get a response, you text on Tuesday. And if you don't get a response, you call on Wednesday. And as silly as those 3 things sound, and every time we've been listening to other people doing it, every time that people don't have someone show up, the captain goes, thank you.
Oh, I didn't do it.
the captain goes, hey, team lead, why didn't they show up? Well, I don't know, they just, you know how people are these days. Did you call them? Did you email them Monday? Well, they know to be here.
No.
And as simple as it is, it's a great, and especially when people are working once every 3 weeks. And you know what it does? It makes the once every 3 weeks feel more like an event
Yeah.
than a daily chore. Pastor?
How, with the team leads, say when you face issues the weekend before, are you guys pretty good about communicating, hey, these things happen with maybe this individual or a certain situation where you can prepare them so when they have their huddle, they talk about those things? I mean, how is that gonna work?
Yeah, that usually comes from the captain.
Okay.
Because to some degree, every team is totally different. So the green team problems and the red team problems, they're total different people. So to some degree, there's not a lot of things that work together. There are facility issues or other issues that this team needs to know about, or maybe safety issues, and then that's where the captain goes, hey, the dream team leader, so bottom line, this is what ours looks, this is me, this is the dream team leader, and here's everyone else. So Doug will say, hey, we had a problem. He'll let the captains know, hey, tell all your teams this month, we have a back alley and we have neighbors. For whatever reason, they don't like loud music. I don't understand it. They don't like loud music in the back alley. So Doug has told the captains, hey, when you do stuff, you got to keep that back door closed or we're going to upset our neighbors. We're trying to serve them. So he will tell the captain and the captain will tell all 3 team leads. But most problems so far are individual and they really don't even cross over because there's a group of people and the next color is a whole different. But anything that has to be dealt with like that would come from a captain. Does that answer okay?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
When you guys first built this at your church and you developed this matrix of positions, did you have enough people to fill in that matrix, or were there people that were working like they might have been on the red team for this and they were on the green team for that, and until you kind of filled in the gaps?
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, we didn't come up with it, we stole it.
I'm okay with that.
I'd love to take credit for that, but we stole it. Number 2, yeah, we didn't have enough people at all. And
So did people fill in on different teams and different colors and stuff like that?
yeah, and sometimes when we started, the team lead would usually, sometimes they would do all 3. And they would change shirts every week and they'd be on a different team. So they would do all 3. And then one of them said, well, what's the difference of doing all 3? I go, well, what's the difference? Because you were doing all 3 anyway. You're doing all 4 before. But what it does is it creates opportunities. And it creates an idea that says, hey, we want you to serve. And sometimes in church we kind of do this. Hey, who wants to work with kids? Well, to me, that's a loaded question. What does that mean? Who wants to, do I want to preach to kids? Do I want to lead worship to kids? Do I want to bring the staff? Do I want to run security? I mean, what are you asking me to do? And when you join, usually what? Well, okay, thanks for joining the kids ministry. We meet at my house every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, right? And we're going to stay up till 4 a.m. to do Easter eggs. We got to do it for Jesus. That's kind of what we do. And to be honest, sometimes church, really, we're the worst at really clearly defining what we're asking. So we are working hard on learning to define what we're asking. We're trying to break it down even to this. We're not there yet. Here's where we're going though, right? Does anyone want to work in kids? No. Does anyone want to do kids worship? What does that mean? That means we want you to go in. We want you to spend 15, 20 minutes leading worship. And when I'm done, what? You can leave. Breaks every spiritual rule in the book. Yeah, come and lead worship. And then when you're done, you can leave. You're on the kids team, you can go for 20, 30 minutes, and when you're done, you can leave. And really break down just the one area that you want them to. And I know that sounds silly, but I'll tell you what, think about when people, has anyone ever called you and done this to you? Hey, what are you doing today? What happened? If you're like me, your guard kind of went up, and you're like,
Gotta check with the wife.
yeah. Smart man. I don't have a wife, so I'm in trouble.
Sorry, man.
I have to check with the Holy Ghost and what I want to do. They might call me on a fast between breakfast and lunch. I'm not sure about it. What do you do, right? I don't know about you, you ever like go to Sam's Club, hey, you wanna get a credit card? No. You say 15%? No. It's really be good if you had it. Would you please stop asking? I've said no twice, right? You know why? Most of us have that. But here's the deal. If we're trying to get non-believers, okay, consumers in the world into the church, we got to speak their language and not say, hey, just come and give it all like Jesus gave it all. No. Now, here's the deal. They're going to get there. And as this goes on, these people start to move up and they start to go from working on the team to taking the team lead. That's pretty exciting. There's tons of miniature promotion going on, all quote unquote promotion all the time. That creates such an awesome synergy. And then we already have someone, Kara, she's excited about working her way out of a job. Her goal is to oversee a ministry. Have you ever overseen a ministry you're not called to? Mm-hmm. Right? Kara's like, hey, I've been doing this food ministry for like 1,000 years. Guess what? I am now going to raise team leads. I'm going to raise one to be a captain. And then, Pastor, what do I do then? I go start another ministry. She goes, really? I go, yeah. So you can actually begin to bounce and move around so you can be able to create, almost like someone that creates a tribe and then continues to create. So it's very, very exciting. So they call them every week. There's a contact schedule. The other thing a team lead does, if you're asked to do that or interested, however your leaders decide to do it, they report to the captain if their team is ready. The other thing the team lead does is they run the team huddle at the morning rally, which we kind of went over. The other thing they do is they give out shirts like we do. Everyone that joins the Dream Team, they recommend that you give them a 90-day probation period. And all that means is it's very possible you could, in 4 weeks, be on a team here. Okay? It's kind of quick, right? It's kind of quick. Now here's the deal. No one gets to be a leader. Leadership is totally separate. Once they want to become a team leader or captain, there's a separate spot for that. And then there's more training. But as far as allowing people at the elementary level to walk in and get involved, they can do that right away. And then after 90 days, at that huddle, you go, hey, guess what? You got your 5-6 people. Hey, so-and-so has went through the probation period. They're on the team already. But hey, 90 days probation, you've served well, which is kind of funny to like a church kid that's worked hard his whole life, because it's like, okay, after 90 days, you've worked approximately every 3 weeks, like 4 times. You know, we're giving you a shirt, really? That's just, no, is it just me? Anyone else? No, just me? Yeah, we're really making a big deal. Sorry. It's like, hey, you get a shirt. You've been here like 4 times. I mean, really? You
Used to be the morning service, midday service, evening service.
Yeah. But I had to change my thinking because I realized the longer, really, keep on being honest, the longer I've been in church, if I don't watch it, I just get more staunch on what I expect out of people instead of creating ways to get to them. And so in that meeting, you go, hey, you know, Cole's been doing a great job. So, hey, guys, give it up for Cole. And he gets the shirt. As silly as it is, I'm telling you, you find people. This shirt, as silly as it sounds to a church person, but you give it to someone that has never been a part of anything, that have never won any awards as kids, all the people that God's people should be reaching, the lost and the broken, and they get this shirt to say, I'm on the dream team. Now that is something to celebrate. And they're getting their brand new start. It's not the final frontier. It's not the end of the road, but it's the starting point. Isn't that what we all desire? Is for someone else to start? The other thing I love is we allow our kids do tons of ministry in our church. I mean, teenagers, running teams, running small groups. We have a ton of that going on. So if your church allows that, that might be something you do too, okay? So they give out the shirts. Then, of course, they have to be at their place of service 15 minutes before. Every church is different. That's what they suggest. You lead and run your team as you serve. So on that day, you're not just telling them what to do. You're actually working with them. You can monitor them. You can train them on site. You can be the team lead and say, you know what? I need someone to, I don't know what all you do in kids. Maybe have security at the door. We do because of our location. We have security at the door, and we might say, you know what, hey, you run the service, I'm going to train the person that stands out front and just watches all the kids, because our facilities are nowhere near as blessed as you guys are. So we have doors right out, right to the street. So you can write that in there, train them how to do it, show them how, tell them before and after. And how cool is that, that there is enough people, and now we're building in leadership to do what? To multiply disciples. You know, but I found myself doing all the work, and then when everyone wanted something to be discipled, I'd make a separate meeting to disciple.
Yeah.
Did Jesus do separate meetings, or did he just say, just come walk with me and we'll do both at the same time? Glory! Right? All right, the other thing a team lead would do, it's getting late, is have a bi-monthly meeting with your captains and other team leads. So 1 month you'll have, if you are a team lead, 1 month, all 3 team leads, or you could have more. If you have, when you get to multiple services or different things, you can get more team leads. But all 3 team leads, let's say in January, will meet with their captain. It's just once every 2 months. It's one meeting, it's to create community, fellowship. It's not business. It's really not. It's the relational family of God that's doing work. And there has to be, I believe so far, there's got to be a beautiful balance. It can't be, let's have a meeting and let's hammer this out. No, it's got to be, we're going to spend time, have fun, the guys are bowling, doing whatever, and then they take a small part of it and they go, hey, let's really cast vision and talk about where we're going. So let's say January, the team lead and the other team leads meet with the captain. Then in February, the team lead meets with his people. So you're getting from the top up, and then you're getting from you down, and then you share, hey, this is what I met with our captain about, the one that runs the kids ministry, the one that runs the prayer ministry, and what we really need to work on. And the other thing I'm really learning quickly, people retain information way better in small groups. They just do. You get a room of 80 people and you make an announcement. We have announcement videos. I'm not sure why we do. There seems to be about 190 people every week going, hey, so what time was it? Did you see the announcement video? Someone put some time in. You're already here. If you would just open your eyes. And the stage isn't that. Our screens are almost bigger than our stage, so it's not hard to see. Help us. Work together. Do so many great things. Right? So far, I gotta be honest, I was shocked at that. Because when I'm gonna give out information, I get them all in the room, I go, look at me. You ever see that movie? Look at me. I'm the captain now. Captain Bill, look at me. And I give it to them, and even though they all make eye contact, we do not make brain contact. They walk out and they go, hey, Pastor, so my wife was saying something about when we were gonna, something about, are you serious? And then I just had one of the staff talk to him because I'm very loving and patient. I've known Missy's that long. I am loving and patient. Oh, I pulled the Pastor Ray and moved right there, had you. All right. Okay, any questions? Getting late. Any questions about any of this? Make sure you reach the
We're in a
question.
small group, we're understanding.
Yes, your understanding of me. See, really? You think I'm helping you? This is my therapy session. I'm just letting you know. The screen is right in front of these people. You're helping me. Some say, where'd you go tonight? Little therapy class. Did you go to minister to them? Nah, they were actually just hearing me out. Cool. A couple high notes and then we'll turn it over. I know it's getting late. There's a lot of notes here, but one of my favorite things about this is that we are making disciples. We are getting people to serve in the church, and we're doing it simultaneously.
Yes.
And there's not 1,000 little roads that all the ministries are doing on their own. It's one highway that is standardized. It's approved by your pastors and your leaders and your elders, and everyone goes, we approve of this. You don't have to chase down, I heard someone's discipling someone in this ministry, I'm not really sure. The other thing I love about it is, I used to teach all my staff just to do what I do. You recruit people, you raise them up, you train them. The truth is, there is a ton of people that don't have those gifts. And guess what? That's not their fault. And sometimes we get frustrated at people because they don't have our gifts. That's really not right of us. They're allowed to have their own gifts. Here's the cool thing. When we're talking Dream Team, Dream Team, so now you see all the shirts. The shirts is already, why is everyone wearing red? So glad you asked. That's our dreams. What do? They're a part of the body of Christ. They help us run the whole thing. They make the whole dream come on. What's the dream? Reaching lost people for Christ, that they might know Him and serve Him and live for all eternity for Jesus. They get to share that every time. But what I like is, guess what? You personally will not have to do all the recruiting if the church is doing its part. So instead of the youth worker, I need help, and just being real, most people have to do it on their own merit. See, individually, your leadership have to be good because some people want to follow, some don't. Have you ever someone ever asked you to do something? You go, I love Jesus and I love you as far as you go into heaven, but I don't know if we'll work together. No, but either I'm the only honest person here, or I am not going to heaven. One or the other is happening. Yeah, right. You're not really sure. Here's what's great about it. It's not about that no more. The church begins to talk about it. It becomes a church event, not a youth event, not a kids event, not an outreach event. The whole church is doing it. Now, guess what? The church is celebrating. The church is bringing people through all these classes, 101, 201. The church, and at the 401 class, the church is bringing you workers. Glory to His name, right?
Yeah.
Right? You don't got to do all the recruiting. You don't got to do all that.
Right.
You don't got to, hey, would you please, no, seriously, please, listen, you want to go to heaven, don't you? You need to help me. All the things that have ever been tried over the years to get people to work, now the whole church is doing it. And there's this phenomenal synergy. I'm telling you, I just look on my Facebook and I don't even know what's happening. It's really exciting. And here's what I love about it. The guy that does it's in Alabama. There's another guy that does it now. The father does it in Vacaville. And then there's another church, Sean. That's who we learn from. I think you guys know Sean well. You learn from them. And I'm realizing this is not. And if you ever get a chance, if you want to go deep into it, there's a book Chris Hodges wrote called The Four Cups. And it explains every one of these as amazing biblical phenomenons every step of the class. And what I love is the people are getting excited. The synergies happen. And now it's not addition. Can I please find one person to help? I found one. No. Now the culture of the church is changing. Mm-hmm. What is the most celebrated? In our church right now, we threw a whole party for the Dream Team. Why? I wanted them to know that's the most celebrated thing here. Why? When we can teach people to give back to their God, even though some of the jobs are small, we have one job where the people, they come, they bring food, they put it inside the 101 class, they do it once every 3 weeks, and they walk away. That's the whole job. And they get a t-shirt for this. That's the whole job. When you're raised like I was, I mean, we lived in church. I mean, I'm not joking. My mom had me. The next week, that's just the way we did it. But you know what? On the flip side, how many times have you as workers said, if I could just get someone to just go buy the tray. That would bring it up. So everyone gets a part. And here's the deal. We're not saying that this is the end. All this is just the beginning. And once they get a taste of doing it and doing it well, and often we give people huge pieces of the pie that they're not ready for, they're not trained for. Let's give them a small piece. Can you just do the worship? Can you just teach a lesson? Can you just do the parking lot? Can you just run information resource? And what's great is you can get creative. These teams can continue to grow and grow and grow.
Right.
There can be a team that all they do is they're encouragement team. They do hospitality for the staff. All they do is help. I want to start a team that all they do is they bless our dream team. I want to start a team just to bless the dream team. And every day they pick someone, every day they write them a letter, every day. And now we get to use all these gifts. And like we talked about, not just 4 or 5, all these gifts and get to use them. So what I love is they bring the workers to you and you don't have to search for them anymore. We have great leaders in our church, but honestly, some of them didn't have the recruiting thing. And just being real, they felt like they were failing as a leader because they couldn't get people. They weren't failing as a leader, they were just failing as a recruiter. And when we did this, and we brought them 101, the whole church in it, 201, 301, 401, 401, now all the captains at the 401 class, they're looking at it like fresh meat. They're like, hey, wow. It's like, wow, you look at all these new, hey, wow, 15 people. Hey, how are you? It's like, you sure got really nice all of a sudden. New people to hell. But man, it's a joy. It's a joy, and it's a synergy that's happening, and we're so excited about it. So we love your church, we love your pastors, we love Robinson. We've known a lot of these guys for a while now. Blessed to know all of you, and man, just really excited for whatever God has for you. But here's what we got to know. Just because we've done 100 things 100 times doesn't mean that it's away from us. Doesn't mean it's not for us. I promise, revival is for us. I'll do what I did. Look me in the eye. It's for us. It's for us. Jesus is coming back. Stuff is that. And the harvest is ripe. It's ripe.
Amen.
Do we always know what to do with it? No. Are we getting better at it? Yes. And let's bring him in. Let's teach him about Christ. Put him on the team. And then the body grows. And when the body of Christ, not just the prayers, but the body grows and people are connected. Imagine all the blood going through these leaders, all the wisdom in this room. All the experience, now connecting pinkies and fingers to it, and everyone can get from that same flow, and new people can get to know what you know. They can learn what you learn, and we can do some great things for Jesus. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. Any questions at all?